Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about what is primary key, what is generator, how many types of generators available, what is composite primary key, and how can we work with composite primary key by using data JPA, how to insert the record into table when it is having more than one primary key, how to retrieve the records from the table with the composite primary key. Then after, we have summarized the annotations that we have used as part of our data JPA as well as Spring Boot. So if you see, these are the annotations we are using from the data JPA. @entity to represent our Java class as a entity class. @table to map our Java class to database table. @id to represent primary key column mapped variable. @column to map our entity class variable to table column name. Generated value to generate the value for the primary key by using generator. Generic generator. When you are creating custom generator, we can configure that custom generator in the entity by using generic generator. Creation timestamp, update timestamp. When the record is created, at what date that record is created, when that record is created, when that record is updated. We need to maintain that information in the database. For that, we are going for creation timestamp and updated timestamp. Next one, embeddable. What is the meaning of embeddable? It is going to represent the class which contains all the primary keys. So when we are working with composite primary keys, then we are going to use embeddable and embedded ID. Next one, coming to the Spring Boot, we used several annotations. @component, service, repository, configuration, bean, primary, auto-wide, qualifier, scope, component scan, boot application, post construct, pre-destroy. Here, component, service, repository to represent our Java class as a Spring Bean class. When you are customizing the beans, then you can go for @configuration annotation. If you want to create your own object, you don't want IOC container to create the object, then you can write @bean method. So when you are going for auto wiring, there is a chance of getting ambiguity. To resolve that problem, we will use @primary annotation. If you want to perform the dependency injection, then auto wide. So when you are going for auto wiring, if you want to identify the dependent bean based on the name of the bean, then you can go for @qualifier. By default, every Spring Bean scope is a singleton. If you want to customize, then you can use @scope annotation. Component scanning. When the boot application started, it will perform component scanning in the packages to identify Spring Bean classes are available. Component scanning will start from base package. So if you want to configure more than one base package, then you can go for component scan. @boot application, one of the most important annotation in the Spring Boot, that is equal to 3 annotation. Boot configuration, auto configuration, component scan. Post construct to pre-destroy to execute bean lifecycle methods by using annotation approach. Post construct method will execute once the bean object is created. Pre-destroy method will execute before IOC container, removing the bean object from its memory. Good, fine. I have given assignment. 7 tasks I have given on the data JPA. Are you able to do this? Yes, completed all 7. Very good. Fine. So today we are going to talk about how to work with embedded database, right? How to work with embedded database, right? Embedded database, nothing but in-memory database, guys. Embedded database is nothing but in-memory database. Now, so here there are 2 types of databases, guys, right? One is external database. External database will be available. Then second one is embedded database will be available. Online people, is my voice clear? Able to see the screen and voice clear for you? Please confirm. Yeah. So you guys please respond when I ask some question. Otherwise, I will forget that the class is going in the online also. So please respond when I ask some questions. Don't sleep. And I request all of you join from the laptop, not from the mobiles. Right. So here there are two types of databases available. One is external database, another one is embedded database. Here external database nothing but guys, physical database will be available. Example, we can go with Oracle database, MySQL database, and MongoDB will be available. So Oracle is available, MySQL, MongoDB, Postgres database, and SQL Server database. Like that, there are several databases available. What is the meaning of that external database? External database nothing but we are going to set up the database in one system. It may be our local system or it may be some other system. So in that system, we are going to install one database server. Database server will be available. Let me call it as a DB server. DB server is running in other computer. That computer is called as a remote machine. Remote machine means different computer. I am working with one computer. My application is developing in this computer. My project is executing in this computer. But the database is running in the another computer. Then what will happen? Our Java application will communicate with the database which is available in the remote computer. So this is called physical database. This is called as a physical database. Our Java application will connect with the database server which is running in the remote machine. So tomorrow when you join in the company, database server will not be installed in your system. In the company, they will take one system. In that they will install the database server. From your code, you need to connect to the database. 10 developers available in the project. For every developer, separate database will not be available. All the 10 developers should connect to the same database. So my team members, I am working from Hyderabad location. My team members are working in US. They are in Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Pune. So in the different locations, our development team is working. But our database is available in the AWS, right? So all these developers are connected to same database, that is a remote machine. So in the industry, what people will do is they will take one Linux machine. In that Linux machine, they will install our database server. Then all the developers who are working in the application should connect with the same database. So this is physical database. The database is installed into some other computer, then all the developers are connecting to the same database. That is how the project development will happen in the industry. Okay, so today we already know how to connect to the database. How can we connect to the database? To connect to the database, what we are doing? We are configuring data source properties. We are configuring data source properties. Username of the database, password of the database, URL of the database. Now here in the database URL, I'm giving localhost. What is the meaning of localhost? What is the meaning of localhost? The database is running in the same machine. The database is running in the same machine. My application, my database, both are running in the same machine. They can connect. But tomorrow when you go for the industry, you will get a computer or laptop from the company. Company will give you one laptop. But in that laptop, database will not be available. Database will be available in the remote machine, or a database will be available in the cloud. In the AWS cloud, they will create the database. Then your Java application should communicate with the database which is available in the AWS cloud. Then what changes we need to do in the code to connect to the cloud database? What connect we need to change? What details I need to change in my application to connect with the cloud database? Instead of localhost, we are going to give the URL of the database. Where the database is available, that database URL we have to provide. That is called database endpoint. What is it is called? Database endpoint. That means where our database is running, that database endpoint we need to configure. If it is in another computer, that computer IP address we need to configure. If it is running in the AWS cloud, that database URL we need to configure. That's it. Every developer will connect with the same database in the development. So let me show you. So here I already made one video related to that. How our Spring Boot application will connect with how our Spring Boot application will connect with the cloud database. So AWS RDS with the Spring Boot. So how our Java application, Spring Boot application can connect with the cloud database. So let me show you this. Yeah. So Spring Boot application want to connect with the Amazon RDS. In the AWS cloud, RDS is one service which will provide the database for us. Now, so what is Amazon RDS? RDS is a relational database service in the AWS cloud. If you want Oracle or MySQL or Postgres, SQL Server, any database that you want in the AWS cloud, you can set up that by using RDS. Sir, why we need to set up the database in the cloud? Why don't we install database in our system? I can purchase one computer, I can install the database. What about security? What about backup? What about maintenance? What about the database license? Lot of burden will be there. So for installing the database, just 2 minutes task. After installation, for example, if my system crashed, database is gone. Can I tell to the client, my system is gone, your data is also gone? Will client accept that? No. So we need to maintain the data very securely, and we need to maintain backup of the data. Even if your billing collapsed also, you should not lose your data. So such kind of backup mechanism is required when you are developing a project in the real time. You cannot say that in Hyderabad we got the earthquake, our billing collapsed, our system's gone, our data is gone. In my system, I installed database. If my system crashed, database also gone, data is gone. How can we get the data back? No, there is no option. So that is maintenance problem. So that is the reason we are going for AWS cloud to set up the database. If I go for AWS cloud to set up the database, we just need to pay the monthly rent for the AWS to use their database. They will take care of license, they will take care of security, they will take care of the backup. So we can use cloud database. Monthly rent we need to pay for them. The administration part, AWS will take care of that. So that is the reason nowadays companies are preferring cloud services. Instead of purchasing the computer, installing the software, maintain the backup, maintain the security, burden for the company. So that is the reason companies are taking the softwares for rent. That is called cloud computing. Cloud computing means whatever the computers are required, whatever the softwares are required, instead of we are purchasing and maintaining, we will go for cloud. So in the AWS, RDS is one service which is used to create the database. When you go for that, they will take care of backup, they will take care of security, availability, scalability. 24/7 your database will be up and running. If you want more number of databases, you can increase or you can decrease. Backup will be available, security will be available, maintenance will be available when you go for AWS RDS. So in this video, I have explained how to create the database in the AWS cloud. So let me show you here. So once you create that database in the AWS cloud, once you create the database in the AWS cloud, here for that database one, endpoint will be generated. Endpoint nothing but URL of the database to connect to that database. Now, once the database is created, it will take some time to create that endpoint. My database creation is happening in the RDS. Right, now see here. You can see endpoint and port. Endpoint nothing but URL of the database. MySQL database I have created in the AWS cloud in order to perform our operation. That MySQL database running on the port number 3306. Now you see the changes that we are making in the application. So if you see our application, 1 minute. Yeah, in the URL, can you see localhost is available or localhost is not available? Localhost is available or localhost is not available? Localhost is not available. Why the localhost is not available? Now you see that video. Localhost means local database. I removed the localhost and I configured endpoint of the AWS. That's it. So in the project, all the developers will configure that database endpoint to connect with the cloud database. Are you clear? That is a physical database which is available in the AWS cloud. Now, so here the problem is, for the project development, it is okay. We can go with the Oracle database or MySQL or MongoDB. That is fine. Apart from the project, I want to learn something new. Apart from the in my company, I'm working for one project. This week, we don't have any work in the project. Assume that we are working in the team. In our project, whatever the tasks are available, those tasks are completed. This week, we don't have any tasks to do. We are free this week. When we have some free time, I want to learn something new. I want to practice some full stack development, or I want to develop one microservice application with the Angular front end or React front end. I want to do some experiment, or I want to do some R&D on some new technology, right? When I want to do that kind of R&D on the new technology, I need one database to develop my practice application. Okay, as part of this practice project development, can you connect to real database in the cloud? Not recommended, because that is a project database. Only project related work we will do in that database. But today I'm not working on the actual project task. I am working on my personal project. In my system, I'm working on the personal project, or I'm learning some new technology. I want to develop one small project for my research and development. So that is called in the industry, which is called as a POC. It is called POC. POC stands for proof of concept. What is that? Proof of concept. So manager told that we are connecting with the Oracle database in our project. Can you develop a POC with the MySQL database, or can you develop a POC on Angular front end for our microservices? Backend application microservice, front end is Angular or React. Manager has given some task. Can you analyze this new technology to develop a project? Then I need to develop a POC. POC stands for proof of concept, that is trial and error method, just for practice. When I am doing such kind of POC, I cannot connect with the real database available in the cloud. I cannot connect with the Oracle or MySQL database. I need to use one database for temporary purpose. This POC development will happen for only 1 week. After the 1 week, we don't need that database. Now, for this 1 week, can we install the database in our system in the company? No. In the company system, you cannot install any software directly, because you will not have any administrator access. You will not have any administrator access in the company provided system. Java installation also you cannot do. Path setup also you cannot do. Any software, any .exe file you cannot install in the company system. Whether company providing a system or laptop, you cannot install any software in the company provided system. For example, if you want to install the Java in the company provided laptop, you need to raise a ticket. You need to raise a ticket for the IT team. IT team will be available. IT team is responsible to install required softwares in the computer. Why? Because if you install a software from the internet, if there is a virus, then company system will be damaged, and they can access the data available in your system if you install any malware software. So that is the reason in the company, lot of restrictions will be available for the systems. Network restrictions will be available. Installation restrictions also will be available. If you want to install any software, you need to raise a ticket for the IT team. Your manager should approve that ticket. Then only they will install the software in your system. Okay, so that may take 3 to 4 days of time to get the access. Okay, manager will ask why you want to install the database. If manager don't know about that, you are doing some POC, you are learning something, to switch the job? Why manager will give permission to install the software? Yes or no? If you tell to manager, I want to learn the React.js by developing a project, can you give permission to install the software? So then what manager will think? This person don't have any work. That's why he's trying to learn the new technology. If he learn the new technology, he will change the job. Then what manager will do? He will keep some extra work on your plate. What managers will think? If you go and talk to the manager, I don't have any work, I want to learn something new. If you learn something new, what you will do? Will you stay in the same company or you will go for other company? That's why always your managers will keep you busy. If you don't have any work, manager will tell you prepare some documentation for the project. So always you can't ask managers for the permission to install the softwares for your practice. So if you want to develop a project, you need a database to store your data by using your application for the practice purpose. That is called POC. POC nothing but proof of concept. So I told you, I'm working for a banking company. In my company, 3 years back when I joined, I want to connect with the database from my application. My database is available in the AWS cloud. I need to connect it to the, I'm a team member at that time, 3 years back. I joined in the banking company, very tight security, ODC will be available. I joined in the company, 1 week, my KT sessions got completed. They explained what is the project, architecture, modules, what are my roles and responsibilities. 1 week completed. Then I want to understand what is the code that they have written by debugging that code. Okay, I want to see what microservices are available. To debug that code, I need to connect it to the database, right? To connect to the database directly, no access. I need to raise a ticket. I need to raise a ticket to get the access for the database. After raising the ticket, it took 20 days for them to give the permission for me. Total 15 people involved in approving the request. That much security will be available. Directly if you go to that, directly go to talk to database team. Hey, give me database access, I want to connect. No. So it will take minimum to minimum 10 to 15 days of time to get all the access permissions to run the application. Lot of security will be available. Are you getting my point? So if you want to install a software in your system, minimum 2 to 3 days of time it will take. If you want to change Java path, you have to wait 2 days of time in the company. So that much security, that much restriction will be available in the software company. Are you getting my point? Now, by observing all these things, Spring Boot people came up with one wonderful concept that is called embedded database. If you want to develop a POC, if you want to use a database for temporary purpose, you no need to install anything. I will give you one embedded database for you. If you run the Spring Boot application, database will start for you. If you stop your Spring Boot application, database will be stopped. That is called embedded database. Why we need to go for that embedded database? For practice purpose. You cannot use this embedded database for the real-time project. Why? Because if application is stopped, database will be stopped. If application started, then only database will be created. I have inserted 10 records. I stopped my application. Database will be deleted. If I restart my application, new database will be created. So in the Spring Boot, there is a support for embedded database, which is also called as in-memory database. What is the meaning of external database and in-memory database? External database means lifelong, permanently. You insert the data, 10 years, 15 years, data will be available. Whether your application is running or not running, no problem. Data will be there in the external database. But what about embedded database? What about embedded database? Embedded database is called as a temporary database. What is the meaning of temporary database? If your application is running, database will be available. If your application is not running, database will not be available. Can I use this embedded database in the project? By mistake, if you restart your project, database will be restarted. Complete data will be deleted. So it is not used for the real-time project. It is used only for the practice. When you want to develop a POC, so you want to develop a POC in the office system, but in the office system, database will not be available. You can't install the database. In that scenario, you can go for embedded database for a temporary purpose. Embedded database, or it is also called as in-memory database. In-memory means within the application, database will come. If application stopped, database will be deleted. In the Spring Boot, we have the support for embedded database. That a database is called H2 database. What is embedded database in the Spring Boot? That is a H2 database. No need of installing, no need to do anything. You just start your boot application, database will start. If you stop your application, database will be stopped. Are you clear? So when we need to go for this embedded database concept, when we should go for embedded database, POC development. What is the meaning of POC? Proof of concept. When you are doing the course, every example you are developing, that is a POC. You are learning primary keys. You are developing a project to understand the primary key, which is called as a POC. You are going to develop one web application by using Spring Boot, that is a POC. Any project you are developing for practice purpose is called POC. For the POC development, you don't need to install the database. You don't need to set up the database. You can take the embedded database for short period of time. When your application is running, database will be available. If your application is stopped, database will not be available. Are you clear? Now, how can we work with this embedded database in the Spring Boot? Add H2 dependency in pom.xml. That's it. If you want to work with the embedded database, we are adding MySQL driver dependency to connect with the MySQL database. We are adding Oracle driver dependency to connect with the Oracle database. Similarly, if you want to connect with the embedded database from your application, you need to add H2 dependency in the pom.xml. Then database will be started. You no need to install anything. Just to create your Spring Boot application by using H2 dependency. H2 driver will be available to connect with the H2 database. Let us see. Guys, along with the H2, I am going to add one web dependency also. The reason is, if you don't have the web dependency, main method will execute, immediately project is getting stopped. I don't want to stop the project. I want my project to be up and running. I want to see what tables are there in the embedded database, how to connect with that embedded database. Now, first step, create boot application with below dependencies. First dependency, one is JPA starter. What is the JPA starter? Data JPA. I want to perform operations with the table by using data JPA. For that, we need to add the JPA starter. Which database we need to use? Embedded database. My data JPA earlier, till yesterday, it connected with the MySQL database. But today, I want to connect with the H2 database. Then add H2 dependency. I want to see the tables in the H2 database. My program should not terminate. My program should be up and running. For that, I'm going to add one more thing, web starter. When you go for web starter, embedded server will come. We discussed what is embedded server. What is embedded server? When our application is running, then whenever start the application, by default, it will deploy in the Tomcat server. That means you no need to install the Tomcat. You no need to deploy in the Tomcat. If you just run your application, Tomcat server will be started. Embedded server, embedded database. Embedded server means if you add the web starter, Tomcat server will come to run your web application. Embedded database means when you start the application, database will be available to store the data, to retrieve the data. Able to follow me? Now, let me create this project. File, new, starter project. Data JPA H2 application. What is the meaning of H2? What is the meaning of H2? Embedded database. Click on next. Web dependency, data JPA. I don't need MySQL driver. I don't want to connect with MySQL today. I want to connect with the H2. Remember, if you don't add the web starter, you cannot see the H2 database, guys, because start class will execute, main method will execute, it will terminate. You can't see the database. If you want to see the database with your eyes, add the web starter, then you can see the database in the browser. Now, data JPA, H2 and web starter. Click on next, click on finish. Good. Project is getting created. Go to pom.xml. Go to pom.xml. Version of the Spring Boot version 3.2. Java version 17. This one. What is this? JPA starter. Why we need JPA starter? To perform database operations by using repositories. We have web starter. Why we need web starter? Why we need web starter? To start the embedded server. Then next one. What is H2? It is a embedded database. Okay. Now, earlier our application connecting to MySQL database. Now my application should connect it to embedded database. So take the data source properties file. Yes. Username. Did I install the database? No. You can give anything as username. Whatever you give here, that will become your database username. Okay. Username I am giving as Ashok IT. Password also I am giving as Ashok IT. Okay. URL jdbc colon h2 colon mem colon testdb. Okay. Something like this. Right. jdbc colon h2 colon mem colon testdb. That is our URL for the H2 database. What is username and password? Is it fixed value or you can give anything? You can give username and password as any value. URL is here. Database name can be anything. In the MySQL, I have given SBMS 36 as a database name. Here, can I give the name as a SBMS DB? Yes, you can give any name for the database. You can choose your username. You can choose your password. You can choose your database name. Now, username is Ashok IT. Password is also Ashok IT. If you want, you can change that. No issue. JDBC colon H2 colon mem colon SBMS DB auto DDL update. This is also not required. If the table is not available, it will create the table. But in the MySQL, if you specify the property, then only it will create. But when you go for H2, it's not required. If the table are not available, directly it will create the table. What is the show SQL? Show SQL is equal to true. Whatever the queries generated by the data JPA, I want to print those queries on the console. Clear? Good. Now, let me run this application first to see whether database is coming or not. Just run this application to see whether database is coming or not. Right, update this project. Maven, update the project. Force update. Force update. Right click, run as boot application. Can you see here? Can you see here? What is that? Connection pool started. Connection pool started. What is this? Tomcat server also started. So did I install the Tomcat? No. Did I install the database? No. Embedded database? Embedded. That is the power of Spring Boot. Auto configuration. Based on the dependencies we have added in the pom.xml, it is providing the required configuration. When I add web starter, Spring Boot understanding that this person developing a web application, for the web application server is required. It is a starting Tomcat by default. That is embedded server. When I add H2 dependency, Boot is intelligent. Boot is understanding that this person wants embedded database, then it will start the H2 database. That is called auto configuration. Do we have this facility in the Spring? Do we have this facility in the Spring? No. That is the reason Spring Boot became very popular in the market because of its auto configuration. Can you tell me what is auto configuration? Can you tell me what is auto configuration? The process of identifying required configuration based on the dependencies available in the form.xml. Based on the dependencies available in the form.xml. Clear? Good. And guys, today one more success story for Ashok IT. Yesterday one student got the job in the US. They are from 24 Java real-time project. Can you guess the salary? Can you guess the salary? 30 lakhs per annum. 50. In the US they got the job. 2 months back one lady got the job in the US, right? You have seen the package. She is from our Spring Boot and Java real-time project batch student, but she has done masters in the US and she got the job in the US with almost $120,000, 120 USD, 120K USD. So it is approximately 80 lakhs package in the US. Yesterday, one more lady got the job. She was having 4 years gap due to her maternity, kids, marriage and kids. She restarted her career as a Java developer. She is in our 24 JRTP batch, 9 o'clock batch. Still that batch is not completed. Still 20 days classes are pending to complete that batch. Yesterday she got the job in the Shift company. You know Shift course, right? So she got the job in the Shift company with the 85 lakhs package in the US. Imagine 85 lakhs package she got in the US. I will share that poster today. So she sent message in the group yesterday. So she got the job. She already joined in the company. 2 days already completed in the job. And she is saying that in the entire team, she is the one who knows 20 plus tools. That people who are already working in the project, they don't have that much knowledge on the Docker, Kubernetes, AWS. They are only Java developers. She is all-rounder. She can work on the backend, front-end, deployment, DevOps, AWS. So that is what she learned in the project. Still batch is not completed. 20 days classes are still left. After 4 years gap, she restarted her career as a Java developer. Now she got 85 lakhs package in the US. Imagine what is the demand for the Java developers in the market. So if you plan your learning for next 3-4 months properly, that much package you won't get in the India, but you can get up to 20 to 25 lakhs. You can get up to 20 to 25 lakhs in the India. In the US, 85 to 90 lakhs package they are offering. So keep that in your mind when you are doing the course. Good. Now we are trying to connect with the embedded database. What is the meaning of embedded database? What is the meaning of embedded database? Embedded database is nothing but temporary database. What is the meaning of temporary database? What is the meaning of temporary database? If our application is running, then only if your application is running, then only database will run. If application is stopped, database will not stop. And one more thing, one student got the job in the Nigeria as a DevOps engineer. That batch also not completed. Evening 8 o'clock, my DevOps batch is running. For them, 2 weeks classes are still pending. That person got the job in the Nigeria as a DevOps engineer. Per month salary in their currency 3 lakh per month. In their currency 3 lakh per month. But when we convert that into India, it is very less amount. But in their currency, 3 lakh per month is a very good salary in the Nigeria. Right? So he is from a DevOps batch student. So Ashok IT not only strong in Java, even we are strong in the DevOps also. Every Java developer should know DevOps operations as well. Companies are expecting DevOps tools, AWS cloud knowledge from the Java developers. So that is the reason in our JRTP we added that AWS cloud concepts for 10 to 15 days of time. And 20 plus tools as I told you in the demo JRTP. Almost all the DevOps tools we are covering except that Terraform and Ansible. Apart from those 2 tools, we are covering all the DevOps tools in our project batch. right? So next 3 to 4 months of time, very important for you to become a employee. If you work sincerely, before course completion, you will get the job. If you work properly, if you do the practice properly, before our project course completion only, you will get the job. So that is in your hand. From my side, I will give you the best content. You will not get that subject anywhere in the market. That is for sure. But how do you practice that? How do you receive that? How sincerely you will keep your efforts towards your learning? That makes the difference, right? So take care of that. Next 3 months, be careful, be confident, and do the practice. Do the tasks what I am giving. I have given 7 tasks only on the JPA. So if you are working on that, then it will improve your confidence, self-confidence, because those are 7 topics I have not explained in the class. But I am telling you how to search in the Google, how to do that on your own. If you start doing that from now, once it comes to the project, you can do the task implementation on your own. You will have that confidence. You need to improve that confidence. For improving the confidence, the topics which I have not discussed, you should be able to do it on your own. Whatever the topic I'm explaining, if you are practicing the same thing, no use. Whatever I have not discussed, that you need to try. Are you getting this? Yeah. Now, I want to go for embedded database to connect, right? Embedded database, nothing but in-memory database. I have created my Spring Boot application. In that application, I have added JPA starter, H2 starter, web starter. JPA starter is used to perform DB operations with the repositories, web starter to start the Tomcat server as an embedded server, H2 dependency to start the H2 database as a in-memory database. Now, my application is running. Sir, can we see that database? You are saying that in-memory database, embedded database. Can we see that database with our eyes? Yes, in the browser, we can see that database also. Go to browser, type, what is the port number? 8080 default. Localhost colon 8080 slash h2 hyphen console. Not found. Refresh. We should be able to access database console, guys. Maven, update the project. Refresh. Run as boot application. Application started with port number 8080. JDBC H2 mem username Ashok IT I have given. H2 hyphen console. One minute. JDBC H2 colon mem colon test DB. That is fine. You can give anything. Let me give the driver class. But it's not required. I'm giving the driver name org.h2.driver. Let me try once. We should be able to see the database console. We should be able to log in into the database. Run as boot app. Before that, Maven, update the project. Force update. run as boot application. It is saying the connection pool is also created, but I'm not able to see the DB console. Localhost colon 8080 slash h2 hyphen console. No. It can be anything, sir. Database name, it's not mandatory that we should give only test DB. That can be changed also. Test also I can give. Run as boot application. One second. I'm degrading the Spring Boot version, guys. Let me check it. Maven update the project. Force update. But in the previous version, we no need to enable that console. But let's try once. Run as. It is updating the Maven project. Refresh. Run as boot app. Yeah. So we started our application. Now, can you see this one? H2 console available at /h2/console. Now, when you go to browser localhost colon 8080 slash, if you want to access H2 database, then we need to use the URL as h2/h2 hyphen console. Earlier, we were not able to see the console. Now I have added this property. Spring.h2.console.enabled is equal to true. So in the previous versions of the Spring Boot, this property is not mandatory. But now without this property, we are not able to see the H2 console. Now, so once you start your application by using H2 driver, then in order to access that console, localhost colon port number slash H2 hyphen console. Once you access the console, you can log in into the database. Now, what is the driver class that we have configured here? So org.h2.driver, you can give that. JDBC URL, whatever the URL you are configuring, same URL you need to provide. Okay, so I have given the DB name as tester. Same URL I am configuring. Username, our username is Ashok IT, password is also Ashok IT. You can give any username and any password. Once after giving the information in the H2 console, there is an option called test connection. So what it is saying, test is successful. That means our information is correct to connect with that H2 database. Then give the password. As Ashok ID, click on connect. So with this, I'm able to connect with the H2 database. Did I install this database? No. Now here you can execute a command show tables now. But currently, do we have any tables in the database? Currently, there are no tables available in the database. We can create the table, we can insert the data, we can perform all the CRUD operations. So if you want to develop any application with the database interaction, how much time it will take? Just you add the dependency and run the application, then database will be available for your application. So you no need to download and install the database if you are developing a POC. But if you want to develop a real project, can you use embedded database for the real project? No. What is the problem with this embedded database? If application is running, then only database will be available. If application is not running, database will not be available. Okay. So now stop it. If I stop my server, then my database will not be available. So let me create one entity class in this project, guys, to see are we able to perform operations or not. in.ashokid.entity. Okay. So let me take one employee. How to make it as an entity? Come on. @entity. Table, mandatory or optional? Optional. Integer employee ID. Okay. Guys, many people, when they are writing the variable, they are writing like this. It's not valid. So it will not create proper setter getter method for your variable. Don't make second character as uppercase. You need to make second word first character as a uppercase. If you are having EMP ID like this, you can do like this, but don't do like this. It's not valid. Write like this. Keep all lowercase or second word first character uppercase. Then private string some employee name, private double employee salary. Okay, right. Why I am taking integer and double? Why not int and primitive types? Why I am not taking primitive types? Default values will be assigned. Okay, I want to make it as a primary key. @ID, generate the value. @generated value. Primary key will be auto generated. Okay. Setters, getters for this variables to set the data and get the data. ToString method to print the content of the object. Okay. So this is my entity class. Do I have any repository for this? No. Let us run the application. Refresh. Run as boot app. Just I created one entity class. What happened? Queries are executed. Did I write auto DDL? In my properties file, auto DDL available or not available? Not available. So if you have the entity class, by default, table is creating in the database. Check that. Now we need to reconnect to the database because application got restarted. Connect. Now go to employee. Select a star from employee. Data is not there, but table is created. So did I ask Spring Boot to create the table? No. Whenever you are using embedded database, for all your entities, tables will be created by default. Okay. For all your entities, tables will be created by default when you add H2 dependency in the pom.xml. You no need to write DDL auto also. You no need to write the DDL auto. By default, tables will be created based on your entity classes. Are you clear with this one? Now, let me perform operations on the table. To perform operations on the table, I need a repository, guys. So let me create one repository, new interface, EMP repository. Let me create that in the repo package. Click on finish. So this is a normal repository. How can we make it as a JPA repository? Extends JPA repository. Our entity is employee. Our primary key is integer value. That's it. Now go to our start class. Let us do some operations with the table. Context object. Context object is available. Okay. Then next one, I need to get the bin of repository to insert the record into table. So to insert the record, there is a method called save method. To call that save method, I need repository. Repository is an interface, or repository is an implementation class. Interface. How can you get the object for the interface? It will give the object of the implementation class. Okay. First, how to do this? Context dot get bin of emp repository dot class. It will give impl object. Okay. Now create entity object, set the data. Employee emp is equal to new employee. Then emp dot id. I no need to set because generator is available. Just set the name. Okay. Some value. Salary. Bin dot save of emp. System dot out dot println of saved employee. Okay. When I am saving the record, what data is available in the employee object? Only name and salary available. After saving the employee, again I am printing the employee object. See the difference. Here my employee object contains only name and salary. Here I am printing the employee once the save operation is completed. System dot out dot println record saved. So in which database it is going to save the record? H2. What is the H2? In memory database. If the application started, database will start. If the application is stopped, then database will be stopped. Run this. Run as boot application. Run as boot application. Okay. So can you see here? Record is inserted. Before saving, ID is not available. After saving, ID also. That means it inserted the record and it populated the ID into our entity object. Can we check this record in the database? My application is running or my application is stopped. Why it is running? Because of web server. Because of web server, it is running. If I don't add the web server dependency, application will be stopped, database will be stopped, we can't see the data. I want my application to be up and running. I don't want my application to be terminated. Because of that reason, I have added web server. Good. Now go here, connect, run the query again. Why it is restarted? Application restarted. If application restarted, database will be restarted. Connect to the database again. Connect. Now select the table. Run. Can you see record is inserted? Yes, the record is inserted into the table. Till how much time this data will be available? Until our application stop. If application is running, data will be available. If application is stopped, data will not be available. Are you able to follow this? Yes. So with this we understood what is external database and what is embedded database. Okay. So when you are working with embedded database, you configure these properties, guys. Create a boot application with below dependencies. Then configure H2 data source properties in application.properties file. You need to configure these properties. Then create entity and repository. Create entity class and repository interface. Run the application and access H2 console. How to access H2 console? What is the URL? What is the URL to access H2 console? http://localhost:/port embedded server port -H2 console. In your system, if you have Oracle database, then you need to change the port number, guys, because Oracle is running on the 8080. Tomcat also will run on the 8080. Two programs cannot run on the same port number in the same system. So if you are having Oracle, definitely you need to change the port number. In my system, Oracle not available. That's why it is working. How do we change the port number? How to change it? Server.port. You can give the port number as 9090. Okay. Now our Tomcat server will run on the port number 9090. Database we can access on the 9090 port number. Stop this. Whenever you make changes to the properties file, it is better to update your Maven project. Maven update the project. Let's do force update. Force update completed. Right click, run as boot application. Console. Check this. Now, what happened? Table dropped. Every time it is deleting the existing table, creating the new table, new record will be inserted. Now I want to go back to database and check it. Can I execute it? If I run this query, what is happening? Refuse to connect. It was earlier connection. Now you need to reconnect. So there is a button to disconnect and connect again. Disconnect. Stop it. Now site cannot be reached. Why? What is the port number here? But our server is running on localhost colon 9090 / h2-console. Server started. Database is running on the 9090 port number. Username and password. Test connection. Success. Password. Connect. We are able to connect to the database. Employee table. Run the query. Record is inserted. Okay. So we are able to insert the records into this table by using H2 database. So when you are practicing, if you are having Oracle database, change the port number for your practice. Okay. So if you want to change the port number, you can use server.port like this. Server.port is equal to 99. If it is external Tomcat, server.xml file will be available to change the port. But it is an internal server, embedded server. To change the port number for the embedded server, we will use server.port is equal to 4-digit number you need to configure. Good. External database, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB. Embedded database, H2. Embedded database is used for temporary purpose. What is the meaning of temporary purpose? Embedded database is used for temporary purpose. For POC development, we can use H2. Okay. For POC development, we can use H2. Now, how to Spring Boot with H2? Spring Boot app with H2DB example. Spring Boot application with H2 database example. Now, create boot app with below dependencies: JPA starter, H2 starter, and web starter. Configure H2 data source properties in the properties file. Username, password, you can give anything. Here, database name also you can give anything. Only this is fixed here. JDBC : H2 : mem. Driver class, H2 driver will be available. So this property which is used to enable H2 console. In the earlier versions of the Spring Boot, this property was optional. Now, without this property, we are not able to see the console of H2. Show SQL true. Whatever the queries it is executing in the application, I want to print those queries on the console. Then server port number we are giving as a 9090. Then create entity class and repository interface based on the requirement. So what about the table creation? Do I need to create the table or I no need to create the table? Who will create the table? Spring Boot will create based on the embedded database that we have. Am I writing auto DDL property? Not required. Required or not required? Even though if you don't write the auto DDL property, still the tables are created. So with this we understood how to connect with Oracle database using JPA, how to connect with MySQL database using JPA, how to connect with H2 database by using JPA. What is the difference? Driver will be different, and configuration URL, database URL will be different. So if you want to connect with Oracle, add Oracle dependency. If you want to connect with MySQL, add MySQL dependency. If you want to connect with a H2, add the H2 dependency. So dependencies will be different for every database. If you want to connect it to the particular database, that database driver class and URL will be different. Dependency change, properties file change is required when you want to change from one database to another database. Do I need to change anything in the code? Code change required or code change not required? Code change not required, only property file change is required, dependency change is required. Clear? Yes. Now, can I give one task? Every day tasks are increasing. You need to practice. This is little complex and very important, damn sure interview question. Okay. How to connect with multiple databases using Spring Boot. You got my point? How to connect with multiple databases using Spring Boot. So your application should insert the records into two databases. Your application should insert the records into two databases, right? So my requirement is you need to develop one Spring Boot application, guys. Please do the practice. It's very important requirement. So this is my Spring Boot application, Spring Boot project. What I want you to do is insert a record into MySQL database. You know already how to connect with MySQL database, and insert record into H2 database. Okay. So what you need to insert into MySQL database and H2 database? So take employee data, insert the employee data into MySQL database, insert employee address into H2 database. So you need to create two entities. One is employee entity, another one is address entity. Employee data should be, whenever you run your application, employee data should be inserted into MySQL database, address data should be inserted into H2 database. Okay. You understand the requirement? As of now, what we have done, we communicated with only one table by using boot application. Now, what we need to do, one application should communicate with the two different databases. Employee data and address data. It is damn sure question in the interview. When you are attending interview with the Spring Boot microservices, they will ask you, how do you connect with the two different databases by using Spring Boot application? Clear? And for you, I'm giving one video also. I already explained that concept. All the requirements are there in our YouTube channel. Multiple DB using Spring Boot Ashok IT. See, within 10 months, 37,000 people watched that video. So that is the demand for that topic. So when you are attending the interview, they will ask you how to configure multiple databases in the Spring Boot application. Within 10 minutes, I explained that task and I have shown one project also in that. How to connect with the multiple databases by using Spring Boot. Now see this one. Yes. So in this video, I explained same H2 database and MySQL database. What you need to develop as part of today's task, I have already explained that in this video. Lot of configuration is required. This is what you need to do in order to develop that application. So when you have only one database to connect, it is dead easy. Directly add the data source properties to connect with the database. But when you have two databases, lot of configuration customization is required. So this diagram, If you go through this video, you will understand how to connect with multiple databases by using Spring Boot. One is H2 database, another one is MySQL database. So today I want you people to go through this video and develop this application. When I give the task, that means you have to complete that task on your own. So you cannot say that, sir, we are not able to understand. Already video is also available. So I want you to go through that video and complete that task. So today this requirement is 8th requirement. Yes. One day I will check all these assignments. Every program should be there in your laptop. Okay, fine. So 8 requirements are given on the data JPA. Today it is the 8th one. How to connect with multiple databases using Spring Boot. Yesterday task, export to DB table data to Excel file. Anybody tried? That also available in our channel, man. You don't know. Export to data to Excel. Right. See here, Excel export using Spring Boot, Apache POI API in the Java. So go to this one. Here I have explained that video. I explained. Here also I'm connecting to MySQL database, JPA repository only. Here I'm using Apache POI API. So this is the logic that I have written by using Apache POI API. When you run this application, it will download the data in the Excel format. Okay. So whenever you send the request to the Excel, you see what will happen there. When I send the request to the Excel, that Excel file is downloaded here. Open that Excel file. Whatever the data is available in the table, that data will be downloaded in the Excel format. Okay. So that a task you need to complete. So this video also I'm going to give as a reference here. So please complete these tasks. Very, very, very important. And in the interview also they are going to ask these questions. How to call stored procedure using data JPA? How do you insert image into database table? How do you export to database table data to the Excel file? How do you connect with multiple databases by using Spring Boot? So I want you to complete these 8 tasks today. So every day you will get the new task. Every day I will give new task. You need to complete that task. If you don't complete, you are the loser. So tomorrow when they ask this question in the interview, you cannot come and ask me, Ashok, you did not explain this question. Already it is there as an assignment. That means you need to research and you need to practice that. So today, please work on this part. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping. We'll meet in the tomorrow session. Yeah. Online students, any questions, anyone?
Sir, that was a beautiful session, sir. I have a question about project.
Okay.
Like you said you'll be taking 2 classes, right? Like morning and
Yes,
evening?
sir. Yes, yes.
Okay. So I like will be covering one major project and 2 mini projects.
Yes, sir. Major project, mini projects will develop in the evening slot only. Microservices we are going to learn in the morning slot.
Okay, morning slot. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Ashok.
Hello.
Ashok, yesterday I had attended on an interview. So, interviewer asking about that what version of your Spring Boot you are using. I said 2.x. So
yes, sir.
He is asking about what is the difference between the 2.x and 3.x, and he is asking about 1.x also.
Yes, sir. I will explain that, sir. I will cover that.
Yeah. And one more thing is when we using the Lambda Ashok, but we did when we didn't find that setters and getters. Is there any another things to do in
yes,
the
sir.
STS?
Lombok setup I will explain in the class how to do the setup for the Lombok.
Yeah. Okay, Ashok. Yeah, thanks.
Hi Ashok, I just wanted to know like when we are going to cover this transactional management in JPA.
We'll cover that, sir. We'll come to that. In the data JPA only we are going to learn.
Okay, and then one more question regarding this assignment. I just wanted to know, Now because we are using two databases, right? And then let's say that there are two tables in different databases. And then when there is an issue with the second insert, right, will it roll back both the...
No, so that for that now that will become a distributed transaction. For the distributed transaction, you need to go for Saga design pattern.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Ashok. This is Sudhakar.
Yeah. Hi, Sudhakar.
Yeah, actually, yesterday I attended one interview. They were asking like application that properties no need to configure there. So somewhere else we need to configure that application where we need to configure.
What can you repeat the question again?
Application that properties file we have, right? Some
Yes.
configurations we have. So those configurations, apart from application that properties, somewhere else we need to
Config server, sir. Config server.
config servers. Okay.
Yeah, that will part of microservices. We'll discuss that.
Okay, sure. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Hi,
So-
Ashok.
Hello.
Ashok, I was practicing along with you here. So when in data source URL, I gave my DB name SBMS, but in UI it is rendering test only.
You change that URL. You copy the URL from the properties file and give that in that, because by default it will take as test. You give your database name. You change that URL in the UI.
Okay, okay. And one more thing, when for differences for Spring and Spring Boot, then we don't need to tell na ki Spring Boot has an advantage of embedded, because anyway in real time it doesn't work. We just do for our.
Yes, right. It is just for our practice purpose.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, today's notes already updated in the portal. So please check it and do the practice. So the requirements that I have given, they are very, very important, guys. Please do the practice.
Ashok,
This
I
is
have
a
one
follow-up question. Sorry to interrupt. This is a
Yes.
follow-up question which was asked by someone actually.
Yes.
So as you said, we need to configure the configuration in embedded, config server, right?
Yep.
So that is in microservices. If it is RESTful services, this is not required, right? I mean, application.properties is enough, right, sir?
Yes.
Hello, Ashok.
Hello.
Hello, Ashok. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I want to join JRTP. Is it possible?
Yes, sir. You can join today at 6 p.m.
Okay. How much? Okay, I can contact with the people. Okay,
Yes,
no.
right.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, if you give a server dot port and we like server dot port in application dot properties, it will change the in-memory database port or application database port, like application port. What will change?
Both, sir. Both. Database also running in our application only, right? Port number is common for both.
Okay, then they are both in same port.
Same
right?
port number. Yes, server and
Okay.
application will run both on the same port number.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Ashok.
Yeah, hi.
Since we are running our application in server, when we update application, I mean any properties or something, won't it update automatically?
Can you come again?
We are running our project in server now.
Correct.
When we update applications like any properties,
Your voice is breaking,
won't it
Krishna.
update auto?
I can't hear your voice. Krishna, your voice is breaking. I can't hear you.
Ashok, meanwhile, I will ask
Can you hear me
one.
now?
No. Please type your question.
Hello.
Your voice is not audible.
So meanwhile, I have one more question. Hello.
Yeah, fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll meet in the
Oh.
tomorrow session. So please practice the things that I have given. Thank you, guys.
Sir, like for the